What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. It is Wednesday afternoon. I was going to say it's Thursday. It's Wednesday afternoon. Sitting here in the hotel, just got off work a little while ago. You know what one of the worst parts about these tests are when I travel like this? Is there's so much setup stuff in the beginning. There's so much stuff that the test officer and the test manager all have to work out that we spend a lot of time, like as data manager and stuff, since our job is to collect the data and everything, we spend a lot of time at the beginning just sitting around. So this is my second full day here in North Carolina, and I have literally spent both days pretty much just sitting around waiting. So it makes for very, very long days. I'd say I've gotten a bunch of reading done, but I'm reading a book that I don't necessarily agree with right now. So I'm having a really, really hard time getting through that. But hopefully things will pick up. Friday is our first day of testing. So hopefully starting then it'll start picking up and we'll start moving. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was I wanted to do a Q&A about Celebrate Recovery. And I put out on Instagram and a couple other places questions about Celebrate Recovery. So I wanted to go through a few of those questions tonight. All right, guys, so like I said, I put a thing out on Instagram and a couple other places, Facebook and YouTube, in yesterday's video, just kind of asking, hey, what are your questions about Celebrate Recovery? What are the things that you've always wanted to know? So I only got a few back, but I want to run through those real quick. The first one I want to run through I got from Trey Van Camp. If you're not following Trey's channel, you really should be. I mean, he's kind of the king of ministry vlogging, so go over and check out his channel. But Trey asked, what is the biggest misconception with Celebrate Recovery? So one of the biggest misconceptions for us at our church is that CR, that Celebrate Recovery, is only for those with alcohol and drug problems. And that is so not the case. Actually, a very, very small percentage of our people that attend weekly have drug and alcohol issues. We have people that struggle with pornography addiction. We have people that struggle with codependent relationships, where they're putting someone before themselves, or they're taking someone else's considerations before themselves, and they're putting themselves after, which sounds like it is a good thing. We're supposed to put others before ourselves, but this comes at a point to where they never think about themselves. A great example of that would be putting yourself in compromising positions, either morally or even physically, where you're doing something because you need someone to like you. You need someone to be happy with you. One of my struggles is that I want people to like me. So I'm constantly trying to think, what can I do to make this person like me? Which isn't healthy. So that I'd say that that's probably the biggest misconception that we deal with, is that it's all for drugs and alcohol. But we all have hurts, we all have habits, and we all have hang-ups, as they would say in CR. And I can tell you from experience that everyone that comes in, even when they're like, this ministry isn't for me, I'm here to support a friend or anything like that, this ministry is something that you can use. There is something that's going on in your life that you are still holding on to, or don't realize that you're hurt from, or there's a habit that you need to get rid of. So this ministry truly is for everyone. The next question was, how does CR differ from programs like AA and NA, Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous? So if you look at just our 12 steps, it's going to look a lot like Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. The difference is that in Celebrate Recovery, we put the focus on Jesus. We can't do anything that we do in Celebrate Recovery without being first focused and in line with Jesus. That's the difference between the other programs. The other programs are focused on, they'll say, your higher power, but we're focused on Jesus. He's the one that brings life change, and that's the difference between CR and the other programs. The next question is, what is the end goal of Celebrate Recovery? Well, as you know, until we reach heaven, we are never a completed project. We're constantly growing. And like we tell people all the time, is even once you've gone through a 12-step and once you've been with CR for a while, things may seem like they're okay for now, but we're still living in this world. There's still going to be another hurt. There's still going to be something we have to deal with, or we're going to hurt someone. So the constant goal is the goal of CR is to constantly be striving to better ourselves and to grow in Jesus. Because as we continue to grow in Jesus, we'll continue to grow in our relationships with others. As we clean up our lives and get rid of the baggage that we're carrying around and the issues that we have, we are going to become more like Christ wants us to be. And that's the goal, is to be more Christ-like while we're here on this earth. The last question I have is it biblical? Honestly, I've had some conversations online today that, if I'm being 100% honest, and I'll probably talk about this in the next few days or a few weeks, I've had some conversations on social media today that concern me with some things I've seen across the country. I'm not going to get into that too much today, but what I am going to say is that if you take CR at face value, it is biblical. The 12 steps, the 8 principles, they are biblically based with Scripture. They are focused on Jesus. This is a biblical ministry. Now, here's the problem, is each church is responsible for their Celebrate Recovery ministry. So while the pastors at our church are very, very committed to making sure that CR remains biblical, not every Celebrate Recovery will do that. In my travels, because of work, I've had opportunities to travel to California, down here to North Carolina, Norfolk, Virginia. There are Celebrate Recoveries, unfortunately, throughout this country. Because there's no hierarchy that they report back to, they're under that local church. A lot of times they will start to adopt local church practices. And sometimes that results in things that are not what CR was made to be. So is the ministry biblical? Yes, in face value. But in practice, that depends on the leadership of that ministry and that church and what they are choosing to follow and what they're choosing to enforce in their ministry. So those are the questions I got. I want to start doing these Q&As more. Obviously, being my first one, I didn't get a ton of questions, but I would like to get more questions. If you ever have a question, go ahead and throw that in the comments, and I'll try to answer those as I come to videos, because I do want to answer your questions, and I'm sure they have them. I watch YouTubers all the time. I have questions for them all the time. Sometimes I ask them. Sometimes I'm like, no, it's too dorky. I'm not going to ask that. So please feel free to leave some questions below. I love answering the questions. I love the communication with people. But that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to cover a couple of those questions. If you have questions about CR still, leave those in the comments as well. And maybe I'll have to do another one of these in a couple days if I get more follow-on questions. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.